So you want to know how to sound like My Bloody Valentine, huh? Well, in today's video, I'm going to run through the latest single that I put up, which was largely inspired by When You Sleep by My Bloody Valentine. Hopefully it'll give you some ideas about my songwriting process, if you're interested in that, and also some ideas about how to apply the ideas of pulling apart the songs that you like and incorporating elements of those songs into your own songwriting. Hey, this is Mike from 424recording.com. Thank you for joining me today. This video is going to just largely be story time, so if you're not into these kind of videos and you want to know how to sound like My Bloody Valentine with all the pedals, there's plenty of videos out there detailing that process, so I wish you well and good luck on your musical journey. But today's video is more for the fans, more for the friends of the channel. Specifically Kyle, he left a comment on the song, on the video Pull Apart the Songs You Like, and said, hey, this is a great video. I think he's kind of said this, I'm kind of paraphrasing, you'll have to go back and read it. He said, this is awesome, but can you explain like how you would actually apply this in real life or in like a real song? And I think that's a great point. It's like you can explain how to do stuff, but if you don't actually do it, what good is that knowledge, right? So that's what this song is inspired by. Thank you very much for leaving that comment, Kyle. I really appreciate it. So When You Sleep by My Bloody Valentine off the album Loveless. I hope that you're familiar with that song. If you're not, immediately shut this video off and go listen to that song, because that song and album is amazing. I've heard it said before that if you don't like My Bloody Valentine, you don't like music. So go check to make sure that you actually like music really quick and then come back. But so the first thing that's important to do when you want to copy a song or sound like a certain band or sound like My Bloody Valentine is buy the song that you want to sound like. The reason I say this is because it's very important to listen to the song that you want to sound like or the band that you want to sound like a lot. You want to listen to it in a lot of different places, on a lot of different sound systems and setups in your car. But the most important reason to buy the song, other than to support Kevin Shields and My Bloody Valentine and the artists that you enjoy, is so that you can bring that song, that MP3 wave, into your DAW. And then A/B your song that you're recording with the song that you are referencing, or it gives you a good reference mix. It gives you a good idea of what a professional song sounds like, where your sounds should sit in the mix, and how close you are to replicating those sounds that you like in the songs that you enjoy. So that brings us to the next part of how I came about using this song, or the way I used it, which was identifying what I liked about the song. I have a list here of the things that I liked. Number one is the overall vibe. If you've listened to Loveless, you definitely know exactly what I'm talking about when I say the overall vibe. It's very ethereal. It feels like you're listening to like a dream or something. I'm not even sure how to describe it. A big element of this vibe, though, is the lightness and harshness. There's this juxtaposition on a lot of the tracks of this really noisy backdrop of sounds and layers, and also this ethereal vocal that kind of floats above everything. It's just like this sort of dichotomy is really what I wanted to go for with Bumbler, if you've checked out that track. Also, just the overall lushness, which I mentioned, the layering. The guitar sound was something I knew that I could get close to because I have a Yamaha SPX90 II, which is one of the reverbs, or the descendant of one of the reverbs that Kevin Shields used for guitars on Loveless. Specifically the reverse reverb program on that unit. I have mine right in the back over here. I don't think it's in my rack over there. You probably can't see it. But so that was something I had. I got that because I was interested in the Flaming Lips drum sound, which for I think Cloud Stays Metallic, it's one of my favorite albums. And they talked about, online there used to be a story about the person who engineered those drums, and they talked about how they accidentally distorted those drums through the SPX90 because it was on like bypass mode or something. But anyway, that's kind of a different story for another time. But anyway, I had the unit. I had the goods, as they say. Another thing is the vocal sound, like the way the vocals are mixed, and also everything I said before. The lyrics are something that really inspired me with this song, because I started to really break down the lyrics, and I noticed that there's a lot of O vowel sounds in the words in that particular song. I think this is important because it gives the song and vocals this like longness or this length, because certain vowels just don't, or certain words just don't translate that great when you're singing them, but O sounds are a great sound to sing. I mean, I'm sure you could think of a lot of songs that use O vowels in them. And I think that my understanding or my interpretation is that some of these sounds were chosen, some of these word choices and sounds were chosen for the sound over the meaning of them, which I thought was really cool, because as somebody who's very literal and somebody who has a writing background, I often spend so much time working on the lyrics, but a lot of times there's a huge swath of people that don't even listen to the lyrics. So that was really freeing and really cool for me. And when I changed out some words, because I was like, well, this doesn't really need to make sense, it just needs to sound cool. And then the mix is very much a mono mix. Even though some things are recorded and in the mix with, like, you know, one of the other pedals, I think, is like that tremolo pan pedal. You know, there's obviously things happening in the mix, but it's not mixed like left, right, center. It's basically like everything's down the center. Not much a fan of mono. Call me Brian Wilson. But so I mentioned dragging the song into the DAW to A-B it. That's really important. And this gives you an idea of the mix and what you're going for. It gives you something to aspire to and reference for a professional song. So that's something I picked up from Graham over at the Recording Revolution. Graham, thank you very much. That was a tip that took my songwriting from here to here. It was like one of those things, as soon as I started doing that, it really clicked for me, and I started doing that all the time, because I don't know what a professional mix sounds like. I'm not in a professional environment. So if you can hear something like When You Sleep on your own setup and get an idea of, okay, this is about how loud this is in the song, this is where it sits in the equalization, in the mix, in the frequency range, it really helps to determine how you want to mix your song. So having that reference, that's like probably one of the most important aspects of this. Okay, so I found that the mix of my song Bumbler was definitely the most challenging part to replicate Loveless, or not Loveless, but When You Sleep off of Loveless. Like, even though I didn't get there 100%, the elements that I was able to use, I was really proud of and happy with. And I was also going to make it a point to say that there's some things that you don't want to replicate. A bunch of people who checked out that song, thanks everybody who listened to the video and watched the video and saw the song. The Bumbler video, some people said it sounded like Sonic Youth, Slint, Modest Mouse, Pavement, which are all huge bands that I'm into, and I'm extremely flattered that people would reference those bands, so thank you for that. But it's funny, nobody said it sounds like My Bloody Valentine. So that's either a really good thing or a really bad thing. It's a good thing because nobody was like, you stole this directly from When You Sleep. This is like, I can't believe you did this. You're such a jerk. Why would you do that? But it could also be a bad thing because it means maybe I'm just really not that good at this stuff, which is an opinion I'm open-minded enough to accept the reality of. So it's a distinct possibility. And the drums were something I couldn't really get right. Could have been the drums that I used, but the drums are often like pretty mid-rangey. I think the whole mix is very mid-rangey, and I personally just like drums that have a little more low end to them. I personally like mixes that have a little more low end to them, which is not necessarily how Loveless sounds. It kind of has its own sound, and that's just an example of adding your own little fingerprint to whatever it is you're doing, and I think why it's better to not have it to just be a copy of it. I mean, maybe it's important to copy it to determine your own voice, but after a while, I think what's the point of just copying it outright just to copy it? I think, you take from it what you enjoy, pull apart the things you like, and build something else with that. So yeah, I want to thank Steve, Jody, Andrew, Patty, Will, Matt, Devin, and James for their support over on Patreon, as well as all my patrons at patreon.com/424recording. If you want to have behind the scenes or takes on some of this stuff, I went into more detail in a post I wrote about this when I gave everybody a sneak peek of the song before it was released, and there's a lot of talk about the short film that the footage that is in Bumbler is from. So if you want to check out any of that stuff, some bonus features, check me out on Patreon, and it helps support all the things I'm doing here on 424 Recording. I just want to say thanks. Thanks if you've been here this long. I realize this is kind of rambly. I hope that it gives you an idea of some things to take away from this. And I'm just going to say Godspeed, my friends, and make sure you do something you want to do today, all right?